If Heartgold and Soulsilver were to be released this year with a few modern tweaks, I firmly believe that they will rank in some of the best video games of all time. Now, there's a lot to unpack with that statement. Firstly, notice that I didn't say one of the best Pokemon games of all time. That's because the bar for Pokemon games is kinda low when compared to other video games. Comparing Pokemon games to each other instead of other video games as a whole is a crutch that this franchise has leaned on for decades, and I'm stepping out of that norm. You see, I play many RPGs outside of the Pokemon franchise, so for me to lower my standards for a game just because it has Pokemon slapped on the box doesn't really make sense to me. But Heartgold and Soulsilver are truly special. When I booted up Heartgold for the first time in almost a decade, I knew that I was going to be in for a wild ride. Stepping into New Bark Town, I felt like I was falling through a portal into an alternate universe. This art style looks so damn clean. The rendering of these 3D-like buildings and objects looks so good, and it's comparable to modern releases that we see today. One of my favorite set pieces in the entire game is the moment leading up to catching Ho-Oh. To climb Bell Tower, you must first gain favor from the elders and step through an underground passage. Upon stepping out of the passage, you're greeted with this beautiful pathway that's covered in autumn leaves. There's no music playing within this pathway, and it really sets the tone that something grand is about to go down. But this is only a stepping stone in your journey. You see, Bell Tower is actually a dungeon, and you must navigate through a labyrinth of one-way paths, ladders, dead ends, and wild Pokemon. Seriously, keep repels on you at all times. And your reward for maintaining your sanity at the end, you're treated to a really fleshed out cutscene that involves some creative camera techniques, 3D objects, music, and most of all, the box legendary himself, Ho-Oh. For some reason, I barely have any memory of playing Heartgold all those years ago, so seeing all of this unfold from the leaf-littered pathway to the bell tower to the appearance of Ho-Oh, everything felt like I was experiencing this for the first time, and that feeling is indescribable. In that wonderful moment, that's when it clicked for me. Game Freak is at peak performance in a top-down 2D setting. For my fellow Pokemon fans out there, consider getting yourself this TCG collection bundle featuring Charizard. Within the box, you'll get 10 booster packs, a Charizard EX card, and a highly detailed Charizard figurine. You can get this bundle for yourself or even as a gift for a friend. Just click the link in the description or pinned comment for more details. Also, a portion of any qualifying purchases goes right back into aiding the channel and helping us put out quality content. Thank you in advance for any support. Now, let's get back to the grind. On the topic of Game Freak, I firmly believe that they have a lot of talent, but I think they are being stretched way too thin when it comes to anything fully 3D. Listen, we're not going to talk about the quality of your 3D releases. There are plenty of other videos that cover that topic. What we are going to do is brag about their 2D work, and this can really be seen with their dungeon designs in Heartgold and Soulsilver. Now, I mentioned the term dungeon earlier, and you might be thinking, wait, Pokemon doesn't have dungeons, but actually they do. These locations are the World Islands, the various Team Rocket hideouts, Seafoam Islands, and even Cerulean Cave, just to name a few. These locations are so well integrated within the environment that most people don't even recognize that they functionally serve the same purpose as a dungeon in regards to video game design. A shining example of great dungeon design is none other than the legendary Mount Silver. Seen as one of the ultimate tests within Pokemon franchise, this dungeon has you crossing multiple floors, crawling through a maze of paths, and even includes multiple exits that lead you outside of the mountain and back into the sprawling labyrinth. For those who like to explore every single corner, Mount Silver even comes equipped with a legendary Pokemon, Moltres. Again, this is one of those moments in which I totally forgot Moltres could even be found here, so it was a pleasant surprise seeing it. And of course, at the peak of Mount Silver, we have one of the toughest trainers to exist within Pokemon, Red. He's quite literally the main character, and as you approach him, he's just gazing off into the distance. At this point, bro is just aura forming, and it's kind of working. No matter how many times you lose to him, all you have to do is beat him once. Now, a problem that Heartgold and Soulsilver faces is the use of HMs. During this time in Pokemon, Game Freak hasn't integrated a way to traverse across environmental obstacles without HMs. This problem will be fixed in later Pokemon releases, but it's on full display here in Heartgold. Having to dedicate one or sometimes even 2 Pokemon slots to carry HM moves feels so bad, especially when it comes to team building. Going back to Mount Silver, you'll need at least Surf, Waterfall, Rock Climb, and Rock Smash to fully explore this location. This is definitely a tall order if you're playing the older games. A really weird thing in Heartgold is that you can't access certain Johto Pokemon until after you begin the post game, the main culprit here being Houndour. You don't get access to Houndour until after you beat the Elite Four for the first time and you get the National Pokédex. Thankfully, this problem was fixed with Larvitar, as you can get it from the Safari Zone. All you have to do is beat Chuck within Cianwood, get the badge, and you'll have access to the area. Now, there is a little bit of luck involved with that, but if the odds are in your favor, then you can get Larvitar well before you fight the Elite Four. Now, why didn't Houndour get this treatment as well? Well, that'll be a mystery for Game Freak to solve. And another side effect of the older games is that TMs are consumable and can't be used over and over. This is another aspect that can greatly affect your team building in Heartgold. Thank goodness that Game Freak has introduced reusable TMs in their newer releases. It has to be one of my all-time favorite quality of life features. Staying on the topic of favorite features, having your Pokemon follow you is still one of the coolest things ever, and I'm glad that other monster taming video games have this practice as well. Another thing that I believe is really underappreciated is your quote-unquote rivalry with Silver. The reason why rivalry is in quotation marks is that Silver doesn't really play the part of a typical rival. He's more like a clash of ideals or beliefs. Silver, who is literally a burglar, and at many times of your journey, he takes opportunities to belittle you and show his disdain for the weak. As your journey progresses, Silver starts to see the weaknesses that lies within himself, and he tries to change for the better. Kinda. I really enjoy this dynamic, and it's surprisingly mature, especially for a Pokemon title. I'd enjoy to see more fleshed out rivalries like this in future Pokemon releases. Also, this game has a ton of personality, despite being a 2D video game. An example of this happens when you beat the 8th gym leader, Claire. Now, most gym leaders accept their defeat with grace, but Claire turns into a full-on brat and she refuses to accept defeat. She even goes as far to say that you have lazy ideals. I wonder what that says about her since she just lost. To get the badge, she claims that you need to get approval from the master of the Dragon Tamers, which is something she hasn't even done herself. So in her eyes, this should be an impossible task. So imagine her surprise when the Dragon Master happily gives me his approval, and then he shouts at Claire and tells her to hand over the badge immediately. Now at this point, I had to take a step back and just soak it all in. I love when video games allow you to get payback, even if it's in just a small amount. And I may or may not be a tad bit petty. And you know what? I'm fine with that. And the post game is simply unmatched in Heartgold. After you beat the Elite Four and the credits roll, here's a short list of things you can do. Explore the entirety of Kanto and collect 8 more badges. Rematch against gym leaders and the Elite Four at increased difficulty. Complete the Pokeathlon and hold records for each event. Take on the Battle Frontier. Oh yeah, it's here in Heartgold and Soulsilver. Capture many, many legendary Pokemon to include the Lati twins, Kyogre or Groudon, depending on your version, the legendary bird trio, Lugia or Ho-Oh, again, depending on your version, Rayquaza, Mewtwo, and more. You can conquer Mount Silver and Challenge Red. You can also get a Kanto and a Sinnoh starter, and much, much, much more. I think you get the point here. These games are filled with so much content that modern games would normally slice this kind of stuff off and try to sell it back to you as paid DLC. We truly live in a society. Heartgold and Soulsilver was an absolute blast to relive again, and I highly recommend giving it a shot if you haven't played it. Also, treat yourself to these nice key charms of the Kanto starters and Pikachu. It even has a little Pokeball as well. Aww. Just click the link in the pinned comment and description to get yourself a set. Just like before, a portion of any qualifying purchases goes right back into supporting the channel. So thank you in advance. Now, with all of that being said, what's your favorite feature of Heartgold and Soulsilver? I wonder what game we can explore next. Become a channel member and find out soon. Now get out there and let's go play some freaking video games.